Vast wide-open spaces constantly stir up the same recurring question within us. What is the point of all this space? Why all this staggering emptiness? And when these immense spaces relate to the cosmos surrounding us, the question takes a deeper turn. We begin to contemplate the inevitability of other beings, perhaps dwelling in hidden corners far from us, occupying the sprawling edges of the universe. The cosmos holds billions upon billions of planets and stars, incredibly similar to Earth and the Sun. When one reflects on this, it seems incredibly difficult to believe that this entire universe could be truly empty. All we need is just a message, or perhaps we can call it a signal that reaches us from a distant place, from behind the stars, carrying within its folds confirmation of the probability of intelligent life coexisting with us in the same universe. A signal just to say hello, to tell us, hey folks, we are your neighbors in the same galaxy. The truth is, what we are discussing is not a mere excerpt from a science fiction film, because we did indeed receive a bizarre signal like this. In 1977, it was widely rumored to have been sent by aliens. On August 15th, 1977, specifically at Ohio State University in the United States, a group of scientists, led by Professor Jerry Ehman, were overseeing a research project. This was part of the preliminary efforts of the SETI Institute, specializing in the search for advanced extraterrestrial life. The experiment utilized a massive radio telescope named Big Ear. It was aimed at the sky in a specific manner. As the Earth rotated, the telescope would perform a sweeping scan of the radio background of space. It received every signal it encountered along the way during this comprehensive scan. The received radio signals were translated into a number between 1 and 10, based on their intensity. If the intensity exceeded 10, we would then measure the signal using the alphabet, from the letter A to Z. So, if the telescope detected a weak signal, common in the cosmic background, a 1 or 2 would be printed on the screen. If the signal increased slightly, maybe a 3 or 4. But if the signal was very strong, it would abandon numerical grading and switch to letters. For example, if a sequence of 11212 was detected, that's a weak signal. But if we found something like 45ABCW543, that means the signal started weak, increased to a large value, and then decreased again. A strong signal like this was rarely, if ever, observed, whereas the first type, all 1s and 2s, was constantly being recorded. The crucial point in our story is that during the scanning process, it was expected and normal for the telescope to pick up signals predominantly as 1 or 2 repeatedly. These were the expected, weak, familiar radio background levels of the universe. But suddenly, during the observation, precisely at 10:16 p.m. that evening, the telescope detected a signal entirely unlike anything they were used to capturing. This signal had a frequency of 1,420 megahertz and appeared as a sequence of 6 characters, a mix of letters and numbers, 6EQUJ5. The signal lasted for 72 seconds. These 6 characters that were recorded were exceptionally striking, especially since the signal included letters, meaning it was extremely intense. Furthermore, it wasn't just 1 or 2 characters, it was 6 letters and numbers. This signal's intensity was about 30 times greater than the intensity of traditional background signals. This was the first time a signal of such magnitude had ever been detected in space. The annotation and the name. When this signal was printed on paper, it was so stunning and strange to the researchers that Professor Ehman grabbed a red pen, circled the characters, and wrote the word "wow" next to them, utterly astonished by the power of this strange transmission. The signal was later named the "wow signal" because of the professor's exclamation. From here began the journey of the wow signal, coming from deep space. The dilemma and the distance. Those conducting the experiment entered a massive whirlwind of questions surrounding the wow signal. The radio telescope was scanning a star cluster known as Messier 55, specifically pointed toward an angle containing a group of stars in the Sagittarius constellation. The nearest star capable of emitting a signal of this intensity should have been about 200 light-years away from us. This means that if the WOW signal had been sent by an alien civilization, it would have been transmitted 200 years ago to reach us and be received in 1977. The search for the second time. In an attempt to understand the matter further, they tried to repeat the experiment. They began a new search, directing the telescope towards the exact same angle and star cluster. You should know that they repeated the experiment about 50 times, even using a different telescope called Oak Ridge, which had greater sensitivity and accuracy than Big Ear. Not only that, they even tried changing the location of the telescope itself, moving across the Earth's surface, changing its position repeatedly. All this was an effort to detect any similar signal, but unfortunately, despite all these attempts and experiments, they were unable to capture any similar signal whatsoever. It was at this point that people began to doubt, suggesting perhaps the WOW signal originated from the surface of Earth itself. An earthly radiation source mistakenly sent the signal. However, upon further investigation and verification, this hypothesis was found to be incorrect. As is well known, space and astronomical projects reserve a set of frequencies that no one else is allowed to use. The law criminalizes any entity with authority over radio transmission systems from using research-specific frequencies. Furthermore, the nature and intensity of the signal could not have originated from an earthly source at all. This means the WOW signal definitely came from space, not Earth. Okay, I agree that the WOW signal came from space. No problem. But what prevents this signal from being merely an emission from an exploding star, for instance? This was indeed one of the controversial hypotheses put forth. The universe is full of electromagnetic waves and signals scattered through space, moving at the speed of light. However, the response to this hypothesis was that if the signal resulted from a stellar explosion, they should have detected the signal repeatedly, as it would likely come in the form of continuous pulses. Moreover, the detection time should have been much longer. That is precisely what did not happen. The observers repeated the experiment over 50 times, and not once was a similar signal recorded. Thus, the idea that it resulted from a stellar explosion is considered a far-fetched one. The comet hypothesis and rejection. Later, an assistant professor of astronomy and astrophysics in Florida, named Antonio Paris, suggested, "I found it! The cause of the signal is a hydrogen cloud associated with two comets named 335P/Gibbs and 266P/Christensen. They were in the exact spot where the telescope detected the signal." Indeed, those interested in astronomy echoed Antonio's words, saying the WOW signal's interpretation was finally solved and the matter was closed. But when astronomers investigated the issue further, they found that the comets were not in that location at the time of the observation. Consequently, that hypothesis was also rejected. The crux of the matter is that the only thing we are certain of is that the 1420 MHz frequency of the WOW signal is the same frequency band as the atomic spectrum of the hydrogen atom. Therefore, this frequency could be due to a form of hydrogen radiation that we haven't understood until today, or it was intentionally sent from extraterrestrial beings who chose this specific frequency to send us a message, knowing that advanced and intelligent civilizations are the ones capable of analyzing matter by its distinct elements. This is why, in 2012, a sophisticated telescope was used in Puerto Rico to send a message back to the same location from which the WOW signal was received in 1977. The data they sent included selected tweets from Twitter and a collection of videos and photos of global celebrities and artists. The event was intended to capture media attention and was not part of a formal research framework, but it served as a response to the WOW signal. For this message to reach the other side, we need at least 200 years for it to enter their space, just as it reached ours. Despite all this, the mystery still hangs over this experiment, 42 years after it occurred. Nevertheless, some people believe that we don't necessarily have to wait 200 years for the message to travel, and another 200 years for a new signal to return, to know if a civilization exists or not, because we might receive a new, clearer signal at any time. time through which we can reach confirmed information regarding the biggest question: are the aliens out there or not? And so, despite all the attempts and all the technical breakthroughs, to this very moment, mystery remains the absolute ruler of the situation. Science has not proven, with 100% certainty, that this powerful signal was a genuine, intentional message from an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. However, the mere existence of such a possibility throws the door wide open to countless questions, numerous conspiracies, and topics that seize attention about these strange beings who may share the cosmos with us. Are governments hiding something from us? What are the most famous, suppressed sighting incidents? And what does it truly mean to be alone in this universe? Or more importantly, to not be? What do you think? Should we dive into several other topics covering these creatures and secrets? Write to us in the comments if you want us to delve deeper into this sensitive file. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the bell for more powerful and sensitive topics coming soon.